Welcome, everyone, to the Weird World Podcast. I'm your host, Dean, with my sidekick. No, is that? She's never going to get tired of that.
If somebody is listening to this for the first time, they're going to
be offended.
Think you're some kind of host.
We are the co-host, Dean and Carrie. And
we're not really hosts of anything.
Okay. Now this is getting weird.
Mm-hmm.
So today, Carrie is going to finally tell a story about something that I actually do know this one. She actually told me the topic on this. We've discussed. It's intriguing. It's one of Carrie's...
You might be mistaken about that.
Uh-oh. Did you switch it up on me?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my God. Okay. So never mind. I don't know what's happening right now. She switched it up on me. So I'm not going to give any kind of preamble of what the topic is because I don't know. Take it away.
Well...
I'm crossing out. I started notes, and I'm going to have to cross that out. Okay.
You may have heard of this man. His name is Eadward Muybridge.
Okay, hold on.
It's a great name.
Eadward
Muybridge.
How do you spell the last one? How do you spell both of them? How do you spell every letter?
Eadward, E-A-D.
E-A-D, okay.
W-A-R-D. You really don't need to take notes on this.
Why not?
Muybridge, M-U-Y.
Okay, Bridge.
Bridge.
I'm going to say that's probably still Eadward. Did you look it up? Is it really Eadward?
It probably is still Eadward.
Okay, let's go. I like Eadward better, so let's.
But it's spelled Eadward. Okay. So I want to signify the drama that is Eadward Muybridge.
Okay. No,
and it's probably pronounced Muybridge or something like that. But
I've never heard of this person.
Well, you know of his work.
I'll take your word for it.
He was a famous photographer in the 1800s. He was born in England, but he came to America in the mid-1800s when he was 20 years old, as a matter of fact. I think his family came from means. I don't think they were, ridiculously wealthy, but they did have some money. But
of the Essex Muybridges. Of course, now I've placed it.
He told his grandma, no, Granny, I don't need your money. I'm going to go to America and make my own way.
I would still take Grandma's money.
Well, he probably had to stay in England if he did that.
Oh, okay.
So...
God, no. Hi, everyone in England. Love your country.
Obviously, he probably started out in New York, but he ended up making his way to San Francisco, where he became a bookseller.
Okay.
This was, of course, during the Great Gold Rush, when... Surprisingly, I didn't write any of this down because it really isn't part of the story. But surprisingly, in San Francisco, during the Gold Rush, there were many bookstores in San Francisco. I guess they had to do something, right? In their off time?
Okay, I don't know.
They weren't paying for gold?
I'm assuming the city dwellers were the ones who... Because the gold miners would stop in San Francisco just to pick up supplies, then head out to the mountains. But so the bookstores, wouldn't you think that was for the people who live there?
I don't know, but there were a lot of them.
Okay. Well, good.
And he always seemed to have some sort of interest in photography. Mm-hmm. He wasn't actually doing it, but he was selling prints in his bookstore and stuff like that. Then in 1877, he was an acquaintance of Leland Stanford of Stanford University. Mm-hmm. He was also governor, right? I don't know when abouts he was governor, but I don't think he was
later.
Yeah, he was governor at this time.
No.
But Stanford was big into horse races and racing horses, as one might imagine.
Who wasn't?
Well,
in those days, all the rich people loved their horses.
Exactly. So in 1877, he bet Eadward.
Okay. Stanford did.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Stanford was convinced that horses could fly.
Stanford was.
Yes.
Leland Stanford,
when they ran.
Founder of Stanford University.
Yes.
Was convinced that horses could fly. Okay.
If you would let me qualify that.
No, I don't. That's enough. I say we leave it there.
Because he believed when they ran,
they had all 4 feet off the ground.
All 4 legs would leave the ground at the same time.
That was a huge debate.
Yes. Muybridge,
Eadward,
disagreed. He thought, no, of course not. Of course they don't. So Eadward, the photography buff that he was, decided he was going to come up with a way to photograph the horses running.
Okay.
In particular, I think Stanford's favorite racing horse, Occident.
Ooh.
So to do this, he set up 12 cameras along the horse track and installed a tripwire that would set them off automatically, as a horse ran by. Pretty.
So 12, boom, boom, boom.
Yep. Pretty ingenious, huh? And then he invented something called the zoopraxiscope.
Ooh, that did not catch on.
No. And that was the device that allowed him to project several images in quick succession to give the impression of a moving
Is he going to invent the moving pictures?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, that's what he did, right? You've seen that.
I think I have
That's
seen
why
that,
I said
actually.
you know of this guy. You've seen
those. I've seen the stills. I don't know if I've seen the film of the horror. I think I've seen, well, maybe I have.
You have.
Okay.
And they have them in those circle things, which might be the zooaxotrope or whatever. They have all the still pictures on a carousel, basically, facing out. And when you spin it, the horse appears to be running.
Okay, sure.
That's what Eadward did. Eadward.
Eadward. Oh.
And to Eadward's amazement, the horse was very briefly, but was suspended.
Really? So when horses
Mid-gallop.
are gallop, they actually have, Leland, I'm going to still say that's not flying. It just is.
No, of course.
Look, I could jump right now and have all my limbs off and I'm not flying. So,
True.
Yeah. So Leland was probably pretty high when he said that. But I didn't know that. I thought they did have, always two hooves on the ground, but nope.
Nope.
Okay.
So basically, like you said, he basically filmed the first movie.
Oh. But it's still, I can't remember what it looks like. Is it kind of, jumpy? Or is it fairly fluid?
It's fairly fluid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he's done other ones. He got a little bit wacky towards the end there. But
He did some of the earliest and, in hindsight, worst porn ever, but it was...
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Whoa. Okay.
But he
This
did...
got more interesting.
He did, like a couple waltzing and stuff like that. So
Naked. That's how it became porn.
And you can look these up online and you can see them. So the whole part about them actually making a bet, because somewhere I read it was like a $25,000 bet, which would have been tons of money at the time.
Was Muybridge wealthy? He was a bookseller. Was he?
Yeah, no, he was not wealthy.
Okay, so he can't make a $25,000 bet. That'd be like $400 billion today's money.
Well, it was more like, I don't know if it was a two-sided bet or if it was I'll give you.
Oh.
$25,000 if you, but
if
again,
I lose,
there really
$30
isn't any definitive evidence that the bet part of it was actually true, but the story was true that Stanford wanted to know. And Stanford actually spent a bunch of money trying to determine if horses were ever had all 4 feet off the ground, which, okay, man. So the rest of that story, like I said, is definitely true. But the real story of Eadward Muybridge is how the mild-mannered bookseller completely changed
superhero
when he was in his 30s to become this famous photographer and inventor. Because like I said, he invented basically the moving picture and the zooaxotrope or zoopraxiscope. So let's go back just a tad. In the summer of 1860, Eadward Muybridge was running his little bookstore there in San Francisco, and he had a little problem. He was running low on books and supplies.
Oh, yeah. It's not good for a bookstore.
No. So he decided he needed to go out on a little trip, on an excursion.
A book hunting trip?
To resupply his store, yes. Okay. And
is he going to raid a library? That's
no.
Not okay.
So he sets off on a stagecoach.
He was the first library robber. Give me all your books.
No. So he was, some stories say he was going to get supplies. Some stories say he was going to England. Maybe he was going to England to get the books.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe
he had more books there at the time.
He needed
sure.
those books.
Some long way to go for books. But
yes. So on his way, when he was in Texas, northeastern Texas, as a matter of fact, the coach had a little difficulty. The horse, the driver, probably whipped the poor horses and they started running and they started speeding down a steep mountain road, which wasn't good.
And then he was trying to figure out, do they have all 4 legs up here at one time? I feel like they do.
Well, eventually the coach veered off the road and ran into a tree.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Eadward was...
I bet a lot of people died in coach accidents
I'll bet
back
they
in
did.
those days.
Eadward didn't die, as we know, because we saw him again in
Yeah.
1877.
Although they weren't going nearly as fast as cars go, so probably not dying. I suppose some.
True, but even if you're going
Yeah.
25 miles an hour, you go into a tree and
Very few at the time had airbags yet.
Yeah.
I mean, seatbelts were uncommon.
well, Muybridge was thrown into the air and he landed head first
Oh.
on a boulder,
Ooh.
cracking his head.
Owie.
Yeah, bad news.
Yeah. Is he going to... Oh, my God. He's going to be a completely different person, isn't he?
He woke up 9 days
One of
later.
those crazy psychology things, and all of a sudden he speaks only Hungarian with an American accent. Okay.
Close, but
Damn.
not really. He woke up 9 days later in a hospital that was 150 miles away. I don't know if it was the nearest good hospital. to where
1860,
he
you said?
was. Yeah.
Texas was still pretty damn new.
Yeah. This one was somewhere in Arkansas.
Fort Smith, I'm going to say.
I think you're right.
That was
as
the
a
big
matter of
town in
fact.
Arkansas in the early days.
Yeah. He had a whole bunch of medical problems from this traumatic
Yeah.
head injury. He had double vision, bouts of seizures, no longer any sense of smell, hearing, or taste.
COVID.
Terrible. Yeah.
He may be the first. He's COVID patient zero.
But some people said the biggest change was to his personality. Before the accident, he was a friendly and, open man. He was a good businessman. He was doing well. And then afterwards, he was a risk taker. He was eccentric and moody. And spoiler alert,
What?
he
Spoke
even
Hungarian.
later murders his wife's lover.
Why would you spoil that now?
Because that's not what the story's
Oh,
about.
but I want it to be. Can you switch it up a little bit?
No.
Okay.
And
So murderer.
most importantly, and the actual subject of this podcast, it made him a genius. Quite possibly a genius.
Like counting matchsticks kind of genius or
no.
like physics?
He,
Math.
after the accident, it took him a little while to recover, but eventually, and he was at Fort Smith, eventually he recovered enough to actually sail to England, and he did. And this is where his genius creativity began. This is when he abandoned book selling and decided he was going to really become a photographer. And he ends up becoming one of the most famous photographers in the world, which is why I was so surprised when I said Eadward Muybridge. You didn't know exactly what I was talking
I did not. Well, remember, Carrie, at this time there were like 7 photographers, so it's a low bar.
Well, because not only did he, take groundbreaking pictures, he invented things.
Yeah,
to
like
do
the
with
proto
photography.
Texas burger or what the thing you said earlier
Yeah.
that caught on, and we still have those.
So Trexus scope or something like that.
Yeah.
In fact, he managed to get something like 10 patents
Oof.
in the next 20 years. He ends up traveling he goes back to America and then, travels all around, goes to like Central America. The U.S. government commissions him to do a bunch of very important photography missions. He goes to Alaska and, takes some, really amazing photographs of indigenous people and stuff like
Being
that.
attacked by polar bears.
He also did some lighthouses stuff
Sure,
and Yosemite,
Oh.
major pictures of Yosemite. So that is Eadward Muybridge. So the abrupt turnaround in Muybridge's life from, mild-mannered bookseller to globetrotting.
It's like literally the most cliche occupation as well,
know.
to be like just kind of a chill guy.
Just a creative genius was attributed to, people believed that it was attributed a direct result of his accident and his head injury.
This caused huge personality swings.
But
Michael Hutchins.
he didn't acquire any special talents,
No.
did he?
No, but they just make they seems like they often turn someone who's a
sure.
chill person into an asshole.
Yeah. In fact, Emma knows somebody who was married to somebody and who was in a motorcycle accident and had a head injury. And, I'm assuming she married him and he was a nice, fun, friendly guy. He hates everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
it seems to
and-
go that direction too. Why can't it go the other way? Some total
I know.
douchebag who becomes just a super cool guy.
And I guess he has to make a conscious choice and it's an effort to be nice to certain people or to not be a complete asshole to certain people. And so she had to decide at a certain point, do I stay married to this guy or do I leave him because he's very not pleasant?
Spoiler alert, she ditched him.
No, they're still married.
Really?
Yeah. So anyhow, I doubt if she listens to this podcast. I'm not going to name her. Anyhow, so this is what in some circles is known as Acquired Savant Syndrome.
Acquired Savant Syndrome. ASS. Ass. Okay. So that's a apt title. Acquired Savant.
It actually goes by a different name now.
I'm sticking with ass.
But it's where exceptional abilities emerge after a brain injury or disease. Some sources have told me that it's so rare there are just 25 verified cases worldwide on the entire planet.
History.
Yeah, it was a single sentence, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's at this point in time when the article was written ever.
But that's a recent article, I'm assuming. So
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically,
And-
I don't know.
Yeah, and if theoretically we go back in history and we look at people, but and we think people were savants, but I guess we don't know if they had a brain injury or not.
Yeah.
But it can also be caused by disease. So it's something that does some damage to your brain could also cause you to become a genius. But the term that we have heard of that is very offensive. So, little content warning here: idiot savant.
Okay. And that became autistic savant.
Yes,
And then now
idiot
it's
savant
ass, which is much worse.
it was originally made up by John Langdon Down, and he's the guy who discovered Down syndrome.
Oh.
And idiot savant is derived from the French word idiot in a French accent,
Ideal savant.
which I don't have,
Oh, yeah.
and the word savior or savoir,
Savoir.
S-A-V-O-I-R,
Idiot savoir.
that means to know.
Okay. That,
So-
so an idiot who knows or something like is that? Did
I
idiot
guess
mean
so.
idiot?
I imagine
I
it
think.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it was basically a non-derogatory word, sure.
At the time.
Yes. For
Context.
somebody with a low IQ. And low IQ was defined as anything below 25. which-
25?
Yeah, that's an
That's
idiot.
not even functioning.
Yeah. Yes.
Because 80 is considered a quote unquote, the old term was moron, right? The
80?
word- I thought it was 80.
I thought 80 was
below-
kind of average. What's average?
No, average is 100. I thought below 80 was considered a quote unquote moron.
Yeah,
so
I was
kind of
gonna
slow. Kind of what we now, maybe not even now, but
We did a podcast on that.
developmentally slow. 25 seems like you're not even able to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and in a lot of times, people that are categorized as idiot savants, that's very true.
But I thought the whole thing about idiot savants is that they do something amazingly well. Like
Yes.
they can hear a song and they can play it perfectly immediately.
That
or
is
they can
correct.
count, Dustin Hoffman can count matchsticks.
And now I'll finish my sentence.
Sorry.
Non-derogatory word for somebody with a very low IQ, which is defined as below 25,
Let's just stop there again.
and unusual gifts or abilities,
Ah,
such as in music or math.
okay. I didn't know there was an and. It's
Yes.
my bad.
This idiot savant term was soon replaced with the term autistic savant. Now it's not autistic savant, it's savant syndrome.
Savant syndrome.
Because-
Acquired savant syndrome is this variant, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
savant syndrome can
Oh,
be anyone for
correct.
any reason.
Yeah, we're talking
Acquired means
yes.
something like an accident or disease caused it.
Yes, because originally John Langdon Down was not talking about acquired savant. He was talking about autistic savant,
So just SS.
Yes.
Which also has some negative connotations, but let's just move on.
which became savant syndrome. Because only about 50% of savants are autistic.
Okay. Wait, 15?
50.
Okay.
So of all the savants in the world,
Yeah.
about half of them are also autistic,
Okay.
which is probably what they think the origin, right? What's going on in their brain that's causing the
Like it focuses
Savantism.
on some specific thing to the detriment of other
something
brain
else.
functions. Or,
Yes.
really almost everything else, it seems like.
And the other 50% have some other sort of central nervous system syndrome or injury or disease.
Okay. But they're of otherwise quote unquote normal intelligence?
No,
Okay. Then they're all
not necessarily.
Okay. So
Because, okay, so let's take you mentioned the Rain Man. Let's talk about him briefly. It seemed like he was supposed to be an autistic savant.
Yeah.
The real person in real life, his name's Kim Peek. He doesn't have autism.
Oh.
He has something, it's a rare genetic syndrome. I forget what it's called. It has just letters, but it's he was born with it, but it's basically where the bundle of nerves that connect the two hemispheres of the brain just aren't there. So there's no connection between the two hemispheres of the brain. So he could hardly take care of himself and could not function as an adult. But he could read 2 pages of a book at the same time, like the left and right sides of a book. He could read them at the same time. His left eye would scan the left page. His right eye would scan the right eye.
Oh, I see.
He would completely memorize it.
And the opposite hemispheres would be processing it simultaneously.
And he could do it in 8 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And like I said, he could memorize it completely. In his lifetime, or he's still alive, I think, he's memorized over 12,000 books, including the Bible. But he's also an expert in at least 15 different subject areas, including geography, music, literature, history, and sports.
Did not know that.
So
he should just crush it on Jeopardy.
Yeah. I don't know what daily activities he can't complete on his own, but he can do all that.
All the other ones.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So it's been estimated that savant syndrome, which would include autistic savants and people like Rain Man, is roughly 1 in a million people. But for those with autism, the likelihood is more like 1 in 10. So they have obviously a much greater likelihood. It's also way more prevalent in men than women.
Yeah.
Which autism in itself is, but also the savant part of it also is more prevalent in men.
Any idea why?
Nope. And so it's like I said before, it's commonly linked with other central nervous system disorders that either you have at birth or you acquire later through either some other kind of illness or an injury. And the injuries are the ones we're going to be talking about from here on out.
Okay.
And those are the people like Eadward Muybridge.
Who got it due to head injury.
Yep. Hitting his
I'm
head
assuming
on
always a head injury.
boulder.
You don't like sprain an ankle and all of a sudden you can
No.
count matchsticks.
No.
That would be kind of cool.
But it would be nice.
Yeah, it would.
There's a man named Dr. Tony Chicoria. Great
That's
name.
another great name. We have so many great names in this podcast. Tony Chicoria.
And this guy was already...
Hey, I'm Tony Chicoria. What do
Yeah.
you guys want to do? Want
He
to get a
was-
Euro?
He was already pretty accomplished in life. He was an orthopedic surgeon. And in 1994, he was doing a very old-timey activity, using a payphone
Okay.
to call his mother from a family picnic or a family gathering in upstate New York. So he was just about done with his phone call, and he was hanging it up, and the phone booth was struck by lightning.
Oof.
Sent him flying, and he, landed on his back.
But then he could perform brain surgery in the next morning, and did.
No, he was an orthopedic surgeon.
That's what I mean. He had this new skill,
Oh,
Carrie.
yeah.
That was
No.
God.
He said he had a brief out-of-body experience, and he said it was also like his life flashed before his eyes. He saw all the highs and lows of his life.
I have heard that, and that just seems so weird to me.
Yeah.
You got to do that one next. Wait a bit.
He said he felt himself accelerate upward, and then he was yanked back into his body and feeling tremendous pain.
Yeah.
He actually lucked out because there was a nurse who was waiting behind him to use the payphone. So she's the one that resuscitated him. His heart stopped and everything. So she basically resuscitated it. And
Her name was Annie. She became Resusci Annie.
No.
Fact.
This is 1994, so
Fact.
we already
Very
knew
fact.
about such things.
Fact.
So he had to go to rehab because he was having memory issues and, temporary motor skill impairments and things like that. But eventually he went back to his normal life, and immediately everything seemed fine. Everything was just like it ordinarily was. But in a few weeks, he had a sudden urge to listen to classical piano music. Just listen to it. So he began, and he, before he never had any great like or love of classical music. But so he began listening to Chopin and Vladimir Ashkenazy. Never heard of him. And he just loved it. And then he decided he wanted to learn how to read music and play it himself. And he began hearing musical compositions in his sleep. Oof. And then he'd, like, original ones.
Yeah.
And he'd jump out of bed and try to write them down, which is another reason why you need to learn how to write music or read music.
I believe he may have written Never Gonna Give You Up. Rick Astley would later turn into a number one hit.
Well, so basically he became convinced that his life was saved. Like, he didn't die that day just so that he could nurture this new gift that he had.
Yeah, that's pretentious. But
so he spent the next 12 years learning how to play the piano and write music.
Took him that long? I would have thought he'd be overnight, like he would immediately could suddenly just play anything and was played beautifully and could write music.
I don't think he could.
Okay,
but
well, not quite as impressed then.
I don't know how. I mean, he did play beautifully, and we'll play a snippet. But
yeah, it took him 12 years. I don't know. I'm underwhelmed.
I don't think it took him 12 years, but he spent 12 years doing this. He could have just gone back to his surgeon life, right, and been happy.
That's true.
But part of this whole thing is you're compelled to do it. It's a compulsion. It's very OCD like.
Yeah. Hopefully it's something useful. At least piano playing. It could be something terrible, couldn't it? Or criminal or something like that. I don't know. I am compelled to sell meth.
No.
Okay.
Because meth dealers are not very genius and creative.
No, but it's just your compulsion. You're really good at it. You're like Breaking Bad level good. And you take over the industry and you kill people and they make a series about you.
No, because we'll talk about more examples. The compulsion isn't. It's usually a creative thing.
Oh, okay.
Creative or scholarly like math, but math can be creative. I don't know.
Let's not go too far.
There is math and music. I did a report on it in 7th grade.
That's good for you.
So today, he is a talented pianist and composer. He plays sold-out concerts and has recorded albums. You can look him up.
Today as in nowadays?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this guy was I thought he was a long time ago.
1994 at a payphone.
Oh, I did 1934.
No.
Oh, I'm way off.
Yeah, you are.
In 1934, payphones were already an old thing too. Sorry, I had the completely different time frame in my head here. So we could listen to Tony Chicoria even today.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wondered why you were so
Spotify.
surprised that you could hear him now.
That seemed like he's 112. Wait, what?
There's another man. His name's John Sarkin. He had a stroke. And he was
sad to hear that.
Yeah. Before his stroke, and probably even, I don't know if afterward he went back to it, but he was a chiropractor. He turned into an artist. He almost immediately after his stroke, he had an urge to draw. He had to do it. And he was having a bunch of therapies because, after you have a stroke, you have occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, all that kind of stuff. And he said he was also having art therapy. And he said at one point they just stuck a crayon in his hand and asked, said, hey, you want to try drawing something?
A crayon?
And he said, okay.
He was a grown-up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Not many 12-year-old chiropractors.
Could be.
And he lived in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And the
home of the sea monster of the early
That's
1800s,
true,
as you know.
Go find it in our backlog of
way long ago
podcast episodes. He had a cactus, which seems unusual for Massachusetts, but that was the very first thing he drew. And he thought from that point on, he just had to keep drawing. His drawings are pretty abstract.
What year was he? He's also?
I'm not entirely sure.
But nowadays, modern.
But yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And if you Google him, it's John, Jon, Sarkin, Sarkin. You can see a lot of his art online. A lot of it is abstract and like some of them look like weird creatures, lots of snaky things, and they're kind of interesting, like zigzaggy staircases and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it is pretty colorful. His works have been published by the New York Times. He's done album covers. I don't know for which bands. And
Blackpink. Fact.
I doubt it. And he was covered in a book by a Pulitzer Prize-winning author. His paintings regularly sell for around $10,000.
Nice.
So he's probably doing better as an artist than he was as a chiropractor.
Yeah.
But like I said, he would just draw on anything he could get his hands on. The next guy is...
This is very rare, right? So we're going to do all of them?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Just a few. Jason Padgett. He was a futon salesman.
Futons. That's very specific.
Tacoma, Washington, 2002.
Do you sell couches? No. Sofas? No. Beds? And no. We sell futons, man. Please leave if you don't want a futon. I'm a futon salesman.
Well, he was night out on the town at a karaoke bar there in Tacoma, and he got viciously attacked.
Ooh.
I think they initially demanded his jacket, and I think he gave it to him, and they just beat the crap out of him.
They didn't like it. It was a members only, and it was in 2000, so it was way out of date.
Well, he ended up with a severe concussion, internal injuries, and PTSD. Before the attack, he was basically a college dropout who liked to go hang out at bars and drink and chase women and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay.
He didn't.
You say that almost as if it's not a good thing.
It's fine. That was his life.
All right.
He wasn't very
Sounded
academic.
a little judgy. I had a judgy note to it is what I was feeling.
He didn't have any strong affinity or experience with math. He never did very well.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't get into the algebra class.
I think I know where his talent is going.
And
Algebra 2.
Well, yeah, that was changed. He was taken to the hospital after his attack, obviously. And he said he remembered thinking that everything looked funky, in his words, but I thought it was just the narcotic pain shot they gave me. Then the next morning, he woke up and turned on the water, I guess, in his hospital bathroom, and he said it looked like little tangent lines, which are a straight line that touches a single point on a curve. That's a tangent line.
Carrie, don't patronize me.
And
I know what a tangent line
spiraling
is.
down.
I've had calculus.
Well, now he knows what a tangent line is.
I don't know. I still don't know what a tangent line is, and you just told me.
Yeah, he didn't know before his attack. So from that point on, his world, his vision, everything was overlaid with geometric shapes and grid lines. And
Whatever he thinks he saw, a bus would go by and he'd see, geometric shapes only? Did you see equations? Did he see...
Yeah. While walking through a park, he said he could see elements of the Pythagorean theorem and geometric tangent lines dissecting all movement.
Isn't that a squared plus b squared equals c squared?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, that's not that complicated. He saw just the c and the squared from the a. That's it. Elements of the... Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I know.
Doesn't sound that impressive, honestly. Dude, that was just the writing on the side of a bus, bro.
Well, he regularly drew incredibly complex depictions of pie, which he said was a cathartic expression.
Like apple pie? Like delicious, like banana cream? Boston?
The mathematic
wonder
that is pie.
3.14159, etc.
And because he said he was constantly being bombarded with these visions. And I guess dissect or doing something with pie kind of helped with that.
Okay.
He also, I think it's him, also says he found a mistake in pie.
Really? Yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever been proven or not.
On the 48th decimal.
Yeah. There's another guy who, I don't know if his is acquired savant syndrome or something else, but he could just easily rattle off the entire pie.
Really?
Number of pie, yeah.
That's
I don't know
as
how
far as I can go.
many digits it goes off.
The guy who found... Was the guy who... Jason?
Uh-huh.
It was 3.14? No, he found out it was 7. That's his mistake. We've been way off until Jason turned us right.
Well, he became obsessed with math, or maths.
Sounds like it.
If you read the BBC article on this.
Yeah, because they say it wrong.
And he's most widely known for his drawings of pie, of formulas.
I am struggling with the drawings of pie. What does that mean?
Because it's based on a formula.
Well, yeah,
not
it's
just a
the
number.
circumference, whatever, of the
Yeah.
circle divided by the other
Yeah.
part of the circle, but the diameter, whatever.
Yes.
It's but what is it? So I don't understand. He's just drawing those two elements that comprise the ratio of pi
I didn't
in some
look-
super creative way with lots of neat
I don't
colors.
know.
And
I didn't look
Okay.
up his drawings of formulas in pi, but
Okay.
maybe I will and post a
We're
picture
gonna have
of it
to.
on our Instagram. And now he just can't believe, like, before he didn't even know what a tangent was before this.
Yeah.
And now, he sees it.
Okay.
And he says he feels like he's two different people.
So far, he's by far the least impressive. Because A, I don't think he really found a mistake in pi. B, he's drawing pi, which I have trouble being impressed by. And C, I don't know, he sold futons.
I know. And now
Okay.
he's a mathematical genius.
Maybe he was a mathematical genius who just liked to sell futons, and now he's like kind of like
He wasn't, as I said. He
He's just
couldn't get
playing.
into the algebra class before.
I don't think he didn't really just try hard enough. I
No.
think he's now trying harder. That's my theory.
Yeah, a lot of people have that theory.
Okay.
That obviously the knowledge is in there, right?
I
Or
don't
the
know.
ability is in
Yeah.
there.
But then that would imply
You
the
just have to
ability is in
unlock it.
everyone. The thing that people, we only use 5% of our brain, 10% of our brain is complete nonsense. We used almost virtually all of our brain, of course. That's never been, that's one of the dumbest old wives' tales there is. But if we all have this level of specialized knowledge, that's weird. How do you tap into it? How do you tap into it without
Yeah.
harming other parts of information processing,
And
etc.?
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
There are some theories. Good segue, Dean.
Oh, sure.
How does it work?
How does it work?
this happen? What makes geniuses special? There are some ideas, and like when you're bashed on the head.
Hmm.
Interestingly enough, and this goes back to some previous episodes.
Great name for a podcast.
Yeah, it is. The effects are similar to a dose of LSD
Whoa.
because, as we are learning, psychedelic drugs are thought to enhance creativity by increasing levels of serotonin in your brain.
Okay. All right.
That's the happiness hormone, right?
Okay.
That's what people are lacking or whatever, and that's what antidepressants are supposed to help with and stuff like that, right?
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
They are. This leads to the taking of LSD and increasing serotonin leads to synesthesia.
That's where you see colors
Well,
or something. What is that again?
it's where more than one region is simultaneously activated and senses, which are usually separate, become linked.
Oh, okay. So what I'm thinking of is just an example of synesthesia.
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't necessarily have to be on psychedelic drugs to
But
experience
it helps.
synesthesia. About 5% of the population already has some form of synesthesia. The most common type is called grapheme color, and that's where words are associated with colors. You know Jeffrey Rush,
Yes,
the actor.
Mm-hmm.
He has synesthesia. And
That's
so,
a
like,
hard word. I'm not going to even try to say it.
for him, Mondays are pale blue.
It's kind of one of those things that you just have to take his word for it. It's like
Of
not everyone
course.
accepts Mondays are, you know what? From now on, Jeffrey Rush said Mondays are pale blue.
That sounds like a song.
He doesn't.
So when the brain is injured, dead and dying cells leak serotonin into the surrounding tissue. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's
the-
not great.
Well,
Is that good? Is that bad?
it seems like that would then
Oh, I see.
cause the connectivity, right?
Yeah, I
Or-
guess.
for
but,
different.
But these acquired savant syndrome conditions sound like they're permanent.
Yeah.
So does it continue to leak if that's the causation?
Probably not, but the new connections are formed
Oh, I see.
and they're there.
Okay, interesting.
So the leaking of the serotonin encourages.
Oh, how far are we from flooding people's brains with serotonin and trying
Yeah.
to create geniuses?
I don't know.
Huh, okay.
But encouraging new connections between brain regions, just as like with LSD. And that's kind of the theory behind ketamine therapy. It helps to reconnect synapses in your brain because to make it more like pliable or not pliable.
Let's go with
yeah.
pliable.
Well, We'll delete that part. So mentally, it allows a person to link the seemingly unconnected. So these people that we've talked about and others who have acquired savant syndrome have made scientists want to study them and test whether or not the theory that everybody has all of these abilities kind of dormant in your brain, but for some reason the connections aren't there, right? We can't access them.
Okay.
And like you said, so then is it possible to somehow trigger this in your brain that would allow us to do all the math processes or have the creativity or whatever? So they're doing some studies, and one thing is that they think it could be connected to the left anterior temporal lobe, and that is the thing that if there's dysfunction in it, it would lead to overcompensation by the right brain, creating competition between the hemispheres. And so researchers took healthy people, so people with no, injury or no autism or anything like that, and they used low frequency magnetic stimulation in their brains.
LFM, sure. S.
It's called no.
I was close.
Well, it's called RTMS.
That doesn't make any sense, but okay.
And they asked them to draw animals and faces from memory before, during, and immediately after 45 minutes of stimulation.
Oof.
And then as a control, 2 patients were given basically fake
Just
treatments.
tube? Okay.
Yeah.
Small N issue.
Very
here, but
small. So 4 out of the 9 subjects had major changes in the way they drew the pictures, and several of them reported feeling heightened awareness for their surroundings after the treatment. And then most of them reported feeling normal, back to normal, after about 45 minutes. One patient said he didn't even recognize the drawing that he made.
Really? Your zebra stripes were freaking brilliant, but 45 minutes later, and they're stick figures. This is embarrassing, Michael.
Yeah. No, he knew he had done it, but it was like, oh my God, I couldn't have done that.
They're going to be selling a supplement to be a boost within days.
Well, it's interesting because I have listened to another podcast about this very thing, and it wasn't used. It didn't have anything to do with savant syndrome or anything like that, but it had to do with training, making really good soldiers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was
It's like
pretty
a
scary.
temporary, but this is temporary. This is
It
very
is temporary.
So it's like you go into battle, or you have a mission or something like that. It's a dangerous mission for a SEAL or something, and you take a shot of this or whatever it is, or do this process and go do it.
And a reporter, and there's actually this center that does it, and this reporter is a female reporter. She went there she was doing a story on it, and she went there, and they put the probes in her head and they stimulated her brain. And
she took out a terrorist that very day.
They gave her a test. They gave her a gun.
What?
And it was like a test where it reminded me of the old, driving simulators, driver's ed simulators, where, you're like in a simulated battle thing with, insurgents coming at you and
she's just nailing it. She's crushing it.
She absolutely did.
She played Halo that night and embarrassed.
And at the time, she
incels.
felt crazy aware, like she just knew how to do it. She had never known how to fire a gun. She had never, learned how to shoot at people. And,
When you said they gave her a gun, it was not really a gun. You got scared there for a minute there. She was like,
yeah, no, it probably was a fake gun.
No, it probably was a fake gun.
But she did fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
And this was in Los Angeles, and she's from London, so she doesn't drive a whole lot. But they flew her to Los Angeles to do this story, and she had a rental car. So she drove to wherever this facility was, did this thing in her rental car. And then she said she was scared afterwards because driving after this thing, she felt like she was the best driver in the world, and she had all of this ability, and
she has all this local knowledge. If I take the 60, I can avoid the 10. Okay,
and she did well. She didn't crash or anything, But she said she remembers her frame of mind and how she felt. And afterwards, it was scary to her. So it worked for her. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm sure there's YouTube videos of people rigging up, probes with like batteries and
to
trying
to do it themselves.
Mhm.
That sounds like
to give
a
themselves
terrible
good abilities.
idea.
And it's a learning thing. It's you stimulate your brain while you're trying to learn something or acquire a new skill, and it's very much enhanced.
Yeesh.
Yeah. It's not
We need some more science though. Than
exactly
9 people
yes.
and one English chick who can suddenly know that she needs to take the foothill freeway to avoid the fight through downtown because that's going to be a mess around this time of the afternoon.
But so, real academics are doing this, real scientific research into it and to, see about helping if we have the capacity to access higher levels of processing in our brains. And that's, they're thinking maybe there is some truth to we only use 10% of our brain.
Last thing I remember reading a couple things on that, and it's just like a nonsensical myth. You use as much of your brain as we need to use for the things we do. It doesn't make sense. Why would the human body evolutionarily would not support this incredibly energy hungry organ if you're only using a small percentage of that? That's just nonsense.
You're right, and the reason why. Some people think. And I just heard this somewhere or read it somewhere. I didn't really have it in my notes. But when we were back in the caveman days and stuff.
Cave woman days, Carrie, please.
Cave person days.
There you go.
We needed our brain capacity to keep us alive, right?
Yes. Well, that's how we got ahead in the game.
Yeah, but to make sure that we were doing what we were doing and we could see if that, saber-toothed tiger was coming.
That was it. There's a lot of safety.
Whatever, that kind of stuff. And so if our brain was being used to compose a waltz or whatever, then so there was a mechanism in our brain to basically shut off the creativity part of it to keep us alive.
The reason I don't think that's true is because there would not have evolved a creativity part in the first place if that were true. So I think it's probably nonsense.
Well, eventually we didn't have to use our brain 100% to keep us alive.
Have you seen the paintings in the Lascaux caves in France? They are exquisite. And that was 13,000 years ago.
No, I haven't seen them. I don't know what they look like.
They're very good.
Yeah.
So I know I'm skeptical about that part.
I'm sure you are. I mean, I'm just saying what this is what somebody's theory was. Okay. So I might have said
somebody
this
named Doug. He was a janitor, but he slipped and fell on a wet mop, and he decided to theorize about shit he didn't know anything about.
Well, so it's been estimated, as I said, around 1 in 10 people with autism have savant syndrome.
Okay.
And that there is evidence that it's associated with enhanced creativity. And this is all very difficult to prove.
Yeah.
But
it's
also
really hard to test, too.
Yeah. But they can do like functional MRIs where they can actually see what parts of your brain are working and stuff like that. But I guess they would also have to have something to compare it to, right?
Yeah.
But so people speculate that historical figures that we assume must have been geniuses, right? Or incredibly creative.
Your
or whatever.
Da Vinci's, your
Einstein, Newton.
Although he spent the last 30 years of his life wrong, but still, I get you. Newton, sure.
Mozart, Darwin, and Michelangelo. People suspect that they may have been on the spectrum. And people say that all the time about contemporary people too.
Kanye. Right? Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So
not the members of Blackpink.
So I found this to be interesting. So one theory suggests that perhaps autism is caused by abnormally low levels of serotonin in the left hemisphere of the brain at some point during childhood. I don't know if it's at birth or during, development or what that prevents the region from developing normally.
And presumably it's after a certain fairly early point, it's just too late. You couldn't, you could not.
Yeah, I guess.
Use
I don't know.
serotonin to recover those connections or redo or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's worth studying, though. If
It
there
is.
is a way to
Yeah.
return that to repair.
But then it also must be the result of, or I guess there could be different causes, right? But one cause, it seems to be genetic because autism does seem to run in some families.
Does it?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep. So also interesting, many people with sudden savant syndrome also develop symptoms of autism.
Really?
Uh-huh.
People who are not autistic beforehand, they have an accident, and they suddenly become a great photographer or mathematician or pianist. They develop
Yeah.
autism.
For instance, our pal Eadward,
See, so that does imply that they are now using a greater portion of their brain to do this thing they're specially good at now, and they're losing.
Yep. The trade-off is basically
there's a
damage
trade-off.
to some other area of the brain.
Which implies strongly that you don't have some completely untapped capacity in your brain. Because if you did, you wouldn't have to trade off. You just use that untapped portion of the brain. So we're using 100% of our brain. If you specialize in something, you're going to lose something elsewhere.
Yeah. So, like Eadward,
Yeah.
basically had social problems afterwards, right?
Yeah.
He was moody and cranky and became a murderer.
I wonder if the people who become kind of post accident brain trauma assholes.
Yeah.
Like
The guy that we know of.
The
Yeah.
guy we know of, and Michael Hutchins. They have something else that they're good at, but it just doesn't get noticed or something. You know what I mean? They never tap into it. It's not noticed, and it's latent, and your brain's using it, but for whatever reason, it doesn't manifest itself, or they don't pursue it.
I don't know. I suppose it's possible. I mean, I don't know.
I wonder.
But most of the people that I read about, they felt compelled. They had a compulsion.
Yeah. Okay.
Which one of the other things, which I think is also common in people with autism, is OCD, and they have all-consuming interests.
And they just can't leave it alone.
Correct.
Okay.
Like an autistic boy we know who obsessed with trains. And
Or me with Blackpink.
yes,
for
that's
example.
true.
Well, Blackpink is in the area, so.
Jason Paget, he was the math genius. He had OCD tendencies, and he said it got so bad that if he had enough money, he said he would spray money with Lysol and put it in the microwave for a few seconds to get rid of all the germs. So he was, obsessive compulsive about germs.
Yeah,
afterwards.
but his claim to fame was drawing pies, so he's the one I'm not
Okay,
that impressed
stop
with.
it.
That's all he did.
So this one person who studies this, she's a doctor. She says, most of the time these people are able to have a normal life because, they're not truly autistic. They just have some tendencies, but then they also have to learn how to live with whatever obsession or compulsion is the result.
It could be debilitating potentially, couldn't it? It could be you become so obsessed with something you aren't able to function day to day.
Yeah, you can. Like I don't know if it was John Sarkin or if it's another guy with acquired savant syndrome who, he had to paint everything. He would paint the floor. He would paint the walls. Everything around him, he had to paint. So if he didn't have a canvas or something, like I said, he painted everything.
When he started painting people's foreheads on the subway, it got dicey for John.
Mm-hmm. Well, and John Sarkin says he said it doesn't feel like he likes drawing. It feels like he has to. So kind of the same thing. And he said, in his studio, he has thousands of finished and unfinished works, and some of them are just scribbles. And, if you look online, a lot of his look very much just like scribbles and stuff. His is the one where, we say that it's a genius or it's this great creative talent or whatever, like with the music and stuff. Because objectively, even if you don't like classical music, if you hear somebody playing a well-composed piece of music, you recognize that, oh, that's a nice song, right? That sounds lovely. I look at John Sarkin's artwork and
You're not impressed? And a fan?
I say my kid could do better.
Wow.
Which I am
Shots
one of those.
fired at John Sarkin.
I
Damn.
am one of those parents. But I do have some artistically talented children.
Jesus. This just got ugly. This became like a hate show.
It's also a matter of taste.
Yeah.
Because
apparently.
like I said, his paintings go for like
I like the sound
$10,000 a
of them.
pop.
I like things that are kind of spooky and scary and snaky and
Oh, I never said spooky and scary,
you said
but
snake-like and kind of
he's got snaking images. But and some of them like they're like it's very abstract, and there are like a lot of faces and stuff like that. Portraits. He's got like a portrait series or whatever, and it's not like a realistic portrait of a person. But if you go look at him,
I'm gonna look it up.
some of them I know my kids could do better.
Wow.
But it's better in my opinion. Not, which is very subjective.
Yes, because your kids aren't making $10,000 per a painting.
Correct.
Okay.
But I mean,
But yeah, no, I get you.
yeah.
No, there's a lot
So-
of things that I think that are as in art. It's
Yes.
inevitable. It's subjective.
Yeah.
Or, you know, what's his name? My favorite guy, the Master of Light, who painted just absolute trash
I forget
hospital
his
wall
name.
art, and made millions of dollars
Yeah.
on it. So,
Who turned out to be a horrible person.
and shockingly, was a douche.
So, anyhow, also this is something that is pretty universal.
Thomas
Kincaid.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Douchebag, terrible artist.
it's pretty universal with sudden savants that they have a compulsion to do whatever their newly acquired talent. Or
So it's probably not a
genius is.
situation where the ones who just become assholes are hiding some hidden talent
Yeah,
they've developed.
That's why I don't
post-accident.
think so. Yeah, and like I said about Muybridge,
Eadward.
yeah, he ended up moving to Philadelphia and continued, capturing motion on film. So that was pretty inventive
Pioneer.
and groundbreaking. Mm-hmm.
Edison stole everything from him, I'm sure.
This will bring us back to a comment you made. He photographed all kinds of activities.
Porn.
Walking up and down stairs.
Fucking.
Oddly.
And horse racing.
You take it just a little bit further beyond where he went.
Okay. It's just a simple hand job.
But he did do like a motion capture thing of him. It's not called motion capture, but you know what I mean.
He invented motion capture. That'd be super impressive.
Oddly, himself swinging a pickaxe, completely nude.
Why would he think anyone wants to see that?
He did. And
Pickaxe?
He would he must have hired I don't know, student
Someone.
models or whatever to do activities, and he would do the, successive photos and then make little movies out of them. Oftentimes in the nude.
Why?
You can see these online if you want to.
I don't think I want to. I don't want to see anyone do nude pickaxing. That sounds like a fetish.
One of a guy, I didn't see that one, but there's one of a guy swinging a tennis racket, fully nude, a wiener swinging back and forth as he swings the tennis racket. There's other ones of two nude women, one woman sitting in a chair, another nude woman walking over to her, handing her a cup of tea,
Would you like some tea?
and the other woman drinking the tea.
I love tea. You know, I like tea better than nudity.
Weird, very mundane day-to-day activities, but
It was like what, late 19th century then, probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the couple doing the waltz, they were fully clothed.
Oh, see, now there, I feel like some tasteful nudity could have been deployed.
But between 1883 and 1886, he took more than 100,000 pictures.
Oof.
And so these pictures that he would take of people and then, configure them into these moving pictures, he would take the pictures for lighting purposes, usually outdoors. So he would spend the summer taking just gobs of photos of people doing stuff. And then he would spend the winter months editing them and putting them into his little movie
And selling them on
apparatuses
street
and stuff.
corners.
I don't know what he did with them.
That was early porn, believe me. It's like, oh my God,
I know.
I'm seeing this? This is not happening.
But they were preserved. I mean, they still exist to these days. And you were very interested in the whole murder mystery part of it.
I was. I thought that was our topic.
No.
I want to hear more about the murder before we sign off.
It wasn't a mystery, and because it was not part of the topic, I didn't go read all the particulars, but he ends up murdering his wife's lover.
Oh.
And
Was he the inspiration for the Tim Robbins character in Shawshank Redemption, I wonder? Possibly?
No, because he was acquitted.
Oh, he was acquitted.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Justifiable, man. Your wife is having an affair.
I can see that. Was this in Texas?
You get to kill the guy.
Where was this at?
Probably California.
Wow.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Okay.
And
Just remember that.
This was at some point before he goes to Central America or Alaska or something, and his wife keeps trying to divorce him.
Jesus Christ. She should
And
have.
eventually she does. Because in the days, a judge gets to decide whether or not you have grounds for divorce. And I guess maybe until he killed her boyfriend, she didn't have grounds or whatever. I don't know all the details.
And those were just barely grounds even then.
So
I thought you said he killed his wife. He killed his
Oh, no.
wife's
He
lover.
killed his
Okay.
wife's, lover.
Wow.
And so he's acquitted, and she finally is able to get her divorce. And I don't know, like 3 months later, the poor woman dies.
Oh,
I know.
that's sad.
It's very sad.
That is too bad.
Yep.
Well, but at least she had a fun time before. I mean, up until the guy was shot off at the top of her. But before that, she's enjoying herself.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting story about Eadward Muybridge and his others like him.
Yeah. Also, his name wasn't originally Eadward Muybridge.
Well, okay, that makes him a lot worse of a human being if he picked that name.
He did.
Oh,
it was
Jesus.
Edward. He changed Edward to
Okay.
Eadward.
I now hate him officially.
And his last name was something like Muggeridge or something like that.
Oh, worst person in the world. Did he change his name after the accident? Because that explains he was probably an asshole after the accident, right?
I think, I didn't,
Clearly.
nowhere did I read he was an asshole, but he was moody and
Yeah,
he wasn't as friendly and all that kind of stuff.
And changed his name to Eadward.
But Leland Stanford liked him.
Yeah, not a great recommendation there.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Till next time. See
Thanks
you
for listening.
on the World Podcast. Bye.